In a serene monastery nestled high in the mountains, where the air was crisp and the mind clear, there lived a revered master, known far and wide for his wisdom. His disciples, eager to absorb his teachings, often gathered around him in the quiet of the morning, when the first light of dawn kissed the peaks and the world seemed to hold its breath in reverence. One morning, as the master sat under the ancient Bodhi tree, his disciples approached him with questions that had been troubling their minds. They had been struggling with their own thoughts, their emotions, and the challenges of life, and they sought guidance on how to cultivate strength of mind and spirit. The master, seeing their troubled faces, smiled gently and beckoned them to sit. "My dear students," he began, his voice as calm and steady as the mountain breeze, "the mind is like a garden. If you tend it well, it will bear fruits of peace, wisdom, and joy. But if you neglect it, allow weeds to grow, or water it with doubts and fears, it will become overgrown, tangled, and full of suffering." One of the disciples, a young man with a furrowed brow, spoke up. "Master, we understand the importance of tending to our minds, but we find it so difficult. How can we know which thoughts and habits strengthen the mind, and which ones weaken it?" The master nodded, recognizing the weight of the disciple's question. "You are not alone in this struggle," he replied. "Every human mind is a field, subject to both nourishing rains and destructive storms. Today, I will tell you of the 10 habits that weaken the mind, habits that, if left unchecked, can erode your inner strength and peace. But I will also share with you the wisdom of our ancestors, the teachings of the Buddha, that can transform these habits into sources of power and resilience." The disciples leaned in closer, their hearts eager and their minds open, ready to receive the teachings that would guide them on their journey to mental fortitude. The master began to speak, his words flowing like a clear stream, each one carrying the weight of centuries of wisdom. Thus, the master led his disciples into the depths of understanding, illuminating the path to a stronger, more resilient mind, a path that they would walk together, with mindfulness and compassion as their guides. Imagine a life where your mind is your greatest ally, guiding you through every challenge with unwavering strength and clarity. The power of mental resilience is more than just a concept, it's the secret weapon that fuels your ability to persevere, stay focused, and overcome the toughest obstacles. But here's the truth, mental strength isn't just about being smart or physically strong, it's about developing the inner fortitude to face whatever life throws at you with determination and grace. When your natural talents and skills aren't enough, it's your mental resilience that will see you through. And guess what? The teachings of Buddhism hold the key to unlocking this incredible power within you. In this journey we're about to embark on together, we'll explore 10 habits that could be silently weakening your mind, habits that, if left unchecked, can sap your energy, steal your joy, and leave you feeling stuck. But don't worry. By understanding these habits and embracing the wisdom of Buddhist teachings, you can transform your mind into a fortress of strength and resilience. So, are you ready to start this transformative journey? Let's dive in. 1. The dangers of letting your emotions rule you. Emotions are powerful, aren't they? They can lift you up to the highest peaks of joy or drag you down to the deepest valleys of despair. But what happens when you let your emotions take the wheel? It's like being carried away by a strong river current. You lose control, and before you know it, you're being tossed around with no direction or stability. But here's the empowering truth. You don't have to be at the mercy of your emotions. Buddhism offers us a way to navigate the powerful currents of our emotions without getting swept away. Mindfulness is the anchor that keeps you grounded, allowing you to observe your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Imagine standing on the riverbank, watching the water flow by. Yes, the current is strong, but you're safe and steady, able to see things clearly. How would it feel to have that kind of control over your emotions? Emotional intelligence is another invaluable skill that Buddhism helps us develop. It's like having a compass in the middle of a storm. It guides you, helping you recognize, understand, and manage your emotions while empathizing with the emotions of others. Imagine being in the midst of an emotional storm but having the tools to navigate through it calmly and wisely. Doesn't that sound powerful? when you let your emotions rule you, it's like handing over the steering wheel to a force that can be unpredictable and even destructive. But by practicing mindfulness and developing emotional intelligence, you take back control of your emotional ship. You become the captain, steering with confidence and resilience, no matter how rough the waters get. Buddhism also teaches the practice of loving-kindness meditation, which is like planting seeds of compassion in your heart. As these seeds grow, they help you respond to your emotions, and the emotions of others, with kindness and understanding. Imagine how different your life could be if you approached every emotional challenge with a heart full of compassion and a mind full of clarity. By embracing these teachings, you can break free from the habit of letting your emotions rule you. Instead of being tossed around by the waves, you'll be the one steering the ship, navigating the seas of life with grace and confidence. So, are you ready to take the wheel? The journey to emotional mastery and mental strength is within your reach. 3. The hidden cost of not expressing yourself. Have you ever felt like you have so much inside you? Thoughts, ideas, emotions, just waiting to burst out, but you keep them locked away? It's like having a treasure chest filled with gold, but never opening it. This habit can slowly weaken your mind, making you feel isolated and misunderstood. But here's the exciting part. You can unlock that chest and share your treasures with the world. Buddhism teaches that authentic self-expression is essential for your mental well-being. Imagine how freeing it would be to speak your truth, to share your thoughts and feelings openly. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. Suddenly, everything becomes clear and manageable. When you hold back, it's like bottling up a fizzy drink. The pressure builds, and if you're not careful, it might explode, leaving you stressed and overwhelmed. The practice of right speech in Buddhism encourages you to communicate with kindness, truthfulness, and mindfulness. Imagine your words as seeds of positivity that you plant in the world. Each conversation becomes a garden of understanding and connection. By speaking with intention and care, you build bridges between yourself and others, fostering relationships that nourish your soul. But expression isn't just about words, it's also about nonverbal communication, like your body language and gestures. These unspoken expressions are powerful tools that convey your feelings and thoughts even when you're silent. Imagine how much more connected and understood you'd feel if you could fully express yourself, both verbally and non-verbally. By integrating these Buddhist teachings into your life, you'll discover that expressing yourself is not just liberating for you, it also enriches the lives of those around you. It's like opening a window to let fresh air and sunlight into a stuffy room, filling it with warmth and life. So, why keep your treasure chest locked? Share your gold with the world, and watch as your mind grows stronger and your relationships deepen. 4. The pitfalls of fantasizing instead of visualizing. We've all been there, lost in a daydream, building castles in the air that seem so perfect, so enticing. But here's the catch, these castles don't have foundations. They might look beautiful in your mind, but they can't stand up to reality. Fantasizing, while tempting, can disconnect you from the present moment and set you up for disappointment. But here's a game-changing idea. What if you could turn those fantasies into something real? Buddhism teaches us the power of visualization, a practice that grounds your dreams in reality. Instead of chasing after mirages in a desert, why not create a treasure map that leads you to your goals? Visualization is like charting a course on that map. One that you can actually follow and achieve. Doesn't that sound so much more fulfilling? Fantasies often involve unrealistic scenarios, like expecting a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, a beautiful idea, but one that isn't based in reality. When we indulge in fantasies, we risk missing out on the beauty and opportunities of the present moment. But visualization, on the other hand, is all about creating mental images of achievable goals. It's like having a treasure map that guides you towards your aspirations, helping you chart a course that is grounded in reality. The teachings of impermanence in Buddhism remind us that life is constantly changing, and we must adapt to these changes if we want to succeed. Fantasizing often involves clinging to a fixed idea of the future, but visualization allows you to ride the waves of change with flexibility and resilience. Imagine yourself surfing on these waves, moving gracefully with the flow of life rather than being tossed around by unrealistic expectations. Mindfulness is your best friend when it comes to overcoming the habit of fantasizing. It's like putting on glasses that help you see the present moment clearly. When you become aware of your thoughts, you can gently guide them from unrealistic fantasies to positive and realistic visualizations. This practice grounds your aspirations in reality, making your goals more attainable and your journey more satisfying. By embracing these teachings, you can shift from constructing castles in the air to building solid foundations for your dreams. Visualization becomes a powerful ally, helping you manifest positive realities and navigate life's journey with purpose and resilience. So, are you ready to turn those daydreams into something real? The power to make your dreams come true is within your reach. 5. The weight of blaming others for your problems. Do you ever find yourself pointing the finger at others when things go wrong? It's like trying to run a race while carrying a backpack full of rocks. Blaming others only weighs you down and slows your progress. But here's something powerful to consider. What if you could take that backpack off and run free? Buddhism teaches us that blaming others weakens our minds because it takes away our power. It's like handing the steering wheel of your life to someone else and saying, "You drive." But why give away your control when you can be the captain of your own ship? The concept of karma in Buddhism reminds us that our actions have consequences, positive or negative, and blaming others ignores this truth. Instead of being a passive spectator in your own life, why not take personal responsibility? Imagine yourself as the captain of a ship navigating through stormy seas. Yes, the waves are rough, but you have the power to steer your ship to calmer waters. Forgiveness is another powerful tool that Buddhism offers. Forgiveness isn't about saying what others did is okay, it's about releasing yourself from the heavy burden of resentment. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you could set down that heavy backpack and move forward with ease and grace. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Mindfulness, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, helps you become aware of when you're slipping into the blame game. It's like shining a light on a dark path, helping you see the way forward. When you catch yourself starting to blame, you can choose a different response, one that empowers you rather than weakens you. This shift from blame to personal responsibility is like trading those heavy rocks for wings that help you soar. By embracing these teachings, you'll discover that you don't need to blame others to feel powerful. In fact, true power comes from within, from taking charge of your own life and actions. So, are you ready to throw off that backpack of blame and run free? The path to mental strength and self-empowerment is waiting for you. 6. The futility of complaining about things outside your control. Let's be honest. How often do you find yourself complaining about things that are completely out of your control? It's like holding onto a hot coal, expecting it to warm you up, but all it does is burn. This habit not only weakens your mind, but it also traps you in a cycle of frustration and helplessness. It's exhausting, isn't it? But here's the good news, you don't have to live like this. Buddhist teachings offer a liberating perspective on this. The concept of impermanence reminds us that everything is constantly changing, so why waste energy complaining about things that won't last? Instead of letting complaints dominate your thoughts, why not practice acceptance? It's like learning to dance in the rain rather than complaining about the storm. Doesn't that sound so much more freeing? Acceptance doesn't mean giving up, it means choosing peace over struggle. It's about recognizing that some things are beyond your control, and that's okay. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you could just let go of the need to control everything and instead focus on what you can change. And when you do that, you shift from being a passive complainer to an active problem solver, a much more powerful and fulfilling way to live. Buddhism also teaches the practice of letting go, which is like dropping that hot coal and allowing your hand to heal. When you let go of unnecessary complaints, you create space for positive change and new opportunities. How amazing would it be to live without the heavy burden of constant dissatisfaction? By embracing these Buddhist principles, you can cultivate a mind that is not only strong but also filled with peace and resilience. 7. The chains of worrying about what others say and do. have you ever felt weighed down by what others think of you? It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with other people's opinions, thoughts, and judgments. It's exhausting and overwhelming. But here's a life-changing insight. You don't have to carry that backpack any longer. Buddhism teaches us that worrying about what others say and do weakens the mind because it ties your self-worth to external opinions. It's like sailing a boat that's constantly being tossed around by every passing wave. You never feel steady or secure. But what if you could stand on solid ground, no matter how strong the winds of opinions blow? Imagine the peace and confidence that would bring. The practice of equanimity in Buddhism helps you stay balanced amidst the changing tides of praise and criticism. It's like standing on solid ground, unshaken by the storms around you. When you cultivate equanimity, you develop a resilience that allows you to remain true to yourself, no matter what others say or do. Doesn't that sound like a powerful way to live? Judging yourself based on others' opinions is like letting someone else hold the mirror. You see yourself through their eyes, not your own. But Buddhism teaches the importance of self-acceptance and authenticity. It's like wearing your favorite clothes, the ones that make you feel most like you, instead of trying to fit into someone else's wardrobe. Imagine how liberating it would be to live authentically, embracing your unique qualities and celebrating who you truly are. Mindfulness is also essential in overcoming the habit of worrying about what others think. It's like a guiding light that helps you find your way back to your true self when you get lost in the maze of others' opinions. By being present in the moment, you can observe these worries without getting entangled in them, allowing you to navigate external judgments with greater clarity and composure. And here's the best part. Self-love is the ultimate antidote to worrying about others' opinions. Self-love is like planting seeds of kindness within yourself, seeds that grow into a garden of self-acceptance and inner peace. When you recognize your worth and embrace your individuality, you build a shield against the arrows of external judgments. How amazing would it be to live a life where your self-worth is defined by your own values, not by the perceptions of others? By incorporating these teachings into your life, you can break free from the chains of worrying about what others say and do. Imagine navigating your own course, guided by inner strength and authenticity, where your self-worth comes from within, not from external validation. Are you ready to throw off that heavy backpack and step into a life of freedom and confidence? The power to live authentically and boldly is within you. 8. The importance of nurturing personal relationships. Have you ever noticed how your heart feels when you're disconnected from the people you care about? It's like a garden that's been neglected. The flowers start to wither, the soil dries up, and what was once vibrant and full of life begins to fade. Humans are social beings, and our relationships are like the lifeblood that nourishes our souls. But here's the thing, relationships need care and attention to thrive. Are you ready to start watering your garden again? Buddhism teaches us that neglecting personal relationships weakens the mind because it isolates us from the joy and support that come from meaningful connections. Imagine your relationships as a beautiful garden. You wouldn't let your flowers wither. Would you? Of course not. You'd water them, give them sunlight, and tend to them with love and care. The same goes for the people in your life. Being present with your loved ones is like giving your garden the sunshine it needs to grow. When you spend quality time with the people you care about, you're nurturing those bonds and making them stronger. Imagine how much richer your life would be if you could fully engage with the people around you, sharing moments of joy, laughter, and even tears. It's these connections that make life truly beautiful. Communication is the water that keeps the garden of relationships vibrant and alive. When you take the time to listen, share your thoughts, and express your feelings, you're feeding your relationships with the nutrients they need to flourish. Buddhism teaches the importance of open and honest communication, encouraging us to be present and engaged with those we love. Just like a well-watered garden, your relationships will thrive when they're nourished with care and attention. And let's not forget the concept of impermanence. Life is fleeting, and the time we have with our loved ones is precious. Imagine savoring every moment with the people you care about, knowing that these moments won't last forever. Doesn't that make you want to hold them a little closer, laugh a little harder, and love a little deeper? by recognizing the impermanence of life. We're inspired to prioritize our relationships and invest our time and energy in those who matter most. Incorporating these teachings into your life can transform your relationships from something you take for granted into something you cherish deeply. Your relationships are like the threads that weave the fabric of your well-being, providing support, joy, and a sense of belonging. By making time for your loved ones, you're not only strengthening your connections but also nurturing your own mental resilience. So, are you ready to start tending to your garden of relationships? The love and joy you'll cultivate will be worth every moment of effort. 9. The burden of dwelling on the past. Do you ever find yourself stuck in the past, replaying old memories and regrets over and over again? It's like carrying a heavy backpack full of old, worn-out items that no longer serve you. It weighs you down and makes the journey ahead so much harder. But here's a liberating truth. You don't have to carry that burden any longer. Buddhism teaches us the incredible power of living in the present moment. When you dwell on the past, it's like trying to drive a car while constantly looking in the rearview mirror. You're bound to miss what's right in front of you. But what if you could open the windows, let in some fresh air, and start focusing on the here and now? How much lighter would you feel? Mindfulness is the practice that helps you do just that. It's like opening the door to a fresh breeze that clears away the stuffiness of old thoughts and regrets, allowing you to fully embrace the present moment. Imagine how much more vibrant and joyful your life could be if you could let go of the past and step into the present with open arms. Doesn't that sound wonderful? But dwelling on the past doesn't just weigh you down, it also keeps you tied to old wounds and grievances. It's like keeping a bandage on a wound that has long since healed, preventing it from fully closing. Buddhism encourages the practice of forgiveness, both for others and for yourself. Forgiveness is like opening the door to release the past, allowing you to step into the present unburdened and free. The teachings of impermanence remind us that everything changes, nothing stays the same, and that includes the experiences of our past. Holding on to the past is like trying to freeze a river. It becomes stagnant and loses its vitality. But when you acknowledge the impermanence of all things, you free yourself from the chains that bind you to past experiences. Imagine how empowering it would be to let go of those chains and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and vitality. Self-compassion is also crucial in this process. It's like offering a kind word to yourself when you need it most. You deserve that kindness, don't you? By treating yourself with compassion and understanding, you can break free from the self-imposed prison of regret and guilt, allowing the past to become a teacher rather than a jailer. By embracing these teachings, you can finally let go of the heavy burden of the past and step into a life filled with lightness and possibility. So, are you ready to release those old memories and regrets and start living in the present? The future is waiting for you, and it's full of endless possibilities. 10. The illusion of trying to control everything. Have you ever felt like you're juggling 1,000 things at once, desperately trying to keep everything in the air? It's exhausting, isn't it? And let's be real, sooner or later, something's going to drop. Trying to control everything in your life is like trying to catch the wind. It's impossible, frustrating, and ultimately, it leaves you feeling powerless. But here's a thought. What if you could let go of that need for control and find true empowerment in surrender? Buddhism teaches us that the need to control everything is an illusion, and letting go of this illusion is key to cultivating mental strength. Imagine realizing that you can't hold on to the clouds, they're always shifting, changing, and moving. When you try to control everything, it's like trying to hold on to water. It slips through your fingers, leaving you feeling empty and defeated. But here's the beautiful paradox. Surrendering control doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing what you can and cannot influence and focusing your energy on what truly matters. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You nurture them with care, but you can't control the weather. Whether it rains or shines is beyond your control, but you can still tend to your garden and help it grow. How freeing would it be to release that tight grip and trust in the natural flow of life? Mindfulness is your ally in this process. It's like a steady anchor that keeps you grounded in the present moment, helping you focus on what you can influence and letting go of the rest. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you could stop worrying about things beyond your control and instead embrace the ebb and flow of life with grace and resilience. Buddhism also teaches us that true empowerment comes from surrendering control. It's like opening your hands to receive whatever life has to offer, rather than clinging to your preconceived notions of how things should be. Imagine the sense of freedom that comes with loosening your grip and allowing life to unfold naturally. Doesn't that sound like a weight lifted off your shoulders? By incorporating these teachings into your life, you can break free from the exhausting habit of trying to control everything. You'll discover that by surrendering the illusion of control, you actually gain a deeper sense of empowerment and peace. So, are you ready to let go and find the freedom that comes with trust and acceptance? The strength to navigate life's challenges is within you. Conclusion: as we reach the end of this journey together, I hope you're feeling inspired and empowered to take the next steps toward building a stronger, more resilient mind. The teachings of Buddhism offer a profound and beautiful guide to overcoming the habits that weaken us. By weaving mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom into the fabric of your daily life, you can transcend these negative patterns and cultivate an enduring mental strength that will carry you through life's challenges with grace and confidence. This isn't just about changing a few habits, it's about embarking on a transformative journey, one that leads to a life filled with purpose, joy, and inner peace. Imagine waking up each day with a mind that is strong, resilient, and ready to face whatever comes your way. The possibilities are endless, and the path to this empowered state of being is right in front of you. So, as you move forward, I encourage you to embrace these teachings with an open heart and a determined spirit. Let the wisdom of Buddhism illuminate your path to a resilient and empowered mind. Your life is a beautiful tapestry, and with each mindful step you take, you're weaving in threads of strength, compassion, and joy. The journey is yours to take, let's make it a great one. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the monastery grounds, the master finished his teachings for the day. His disciples, who had been listening intently, sat in a circle around him, the wisdom they had just absorbed still echoing in their minds. The air was filled with a deep sense of reflection, as if the very mountains themselves were contemplating the lessons shared that day. The master looked at each of his disciples, noticing the mix of determination and concern on their faces. They had learned much about the habits that could weaken their minds and the Buddhist teachings that could strengthen them, but they knew that understanding was just the beginning. The real challenge lay in applying these lessons to their everyday lives. Sensing their unease, the master smiled warmly. "My dear students," he said softly, "you have taken the first step on a journey that will last a lifetime. The path to a resilient mind is not a straight one, nor is it without its obstacles. You may stumble, you may falter, but remember this: each moment is an opportunity to begin anew." One of the disciples, a woman known for her quiet wisdom, spoke up. "Master, we understand what we must do, but how can we ensure that we do not fall back into old habits? How can we remain vigilant and true to the teachings?" The master closed his eyes for a moment, as if drawing from the well of his deep inner wisdom. When he opened them again, his gaze was steady and compassionate. "The key, my students, is mindfulness. It is the lantern that illuminates your path in the darkest of times. With mindfulness, you can observe your thoughts and actions as they arise, and gently guide them back to the teachings when they stray. It is a practice that requires patience and perseverance, but with time, it will become your second nature." He paused, allowing the weight of his words to sink in. "But do not burden yourselves with the need for perfection," he continued. "Even the strongest minds have moments of weakness. What matters is not that you never fall, but that you rise each time with renewed strength and clarity. Let the teachings guide you, and let compassion, both for yourselves and others, be your constant companion." The disciples nodded, their faces now reflecting a quiet resolve. They understood that the journey would not be easy, but they also knew that they were not alone. They had the teachings, their mindfulness, and each other to rely on. As the night began to fall, the master rose to his feet, his movements slow and deliberate, like the flow of time itself. "Remember, my students," he said, his voice carrying the weight of finality, "the mind is both your greatest ally and your greatest challenge. Tend to it with care, and it will serve you well. Neglect it, and it will lead you astray. But always, always, return to the path with a heart full of compassion and a mind anchored in wisdom." With that, the master turned and began to walk towards his quarters, the disciples watching as his figure slowly blended into the shadows of the evening. They remained seated for a moment, letting the silence envelop them, each reflecting on the journey that lay ahead. Finally, they rose, one by one, each feeling a little stronger, a little more prepared for the challenges to come. They knew that the road to mental resilience was long and winding, but they also knew that with the teachings of the Master and the Buddha to guide them, they were well equipped to face whatever lay ahead. As they dispersed to their own quarters, the night sky above them began to fill with stars, each one a reminder of the countless possibilities that the future held. And in their hearts, they carried the Master's final teaching, a beacon of light to guide them through the darkest of times.